put a little extra pizzazz on it. Josh.
G'day, Sav.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I don't know about that.
What is your last name?
Gray.
Josh Gray.
Yeah. Very, very boring.
It is very white.
Yeah.
But welcome.
Thank you so much. It's been a long time coming, to be honest.
So the funny thing about you is, oh wow, what the fuck? Seen your podcast. So I met you in Perth,
Yes.
and then so I didn't remember meeting you,
I'm not surprised.
and then it was like a scene of a movie where you get all these text messages and everyone's like, yeah, it was dope meeting you last night, man, you were wild, and then you have no recollection of the night, and then you slowly start getting flashbacks. And then I got onto your podcast, so Josh is the co-creator of Club Good. In my opinion, it was my favourite Australian-based podcast when you and Loston were doing it in your primes.
I don't know how you've come to that conclusion, but I appreciate it.
I used to. Well, before I even seen your podcast, I thought my podcast was pretty good, but my podcast looked like fucking shit. It was basically filmed on a fucking handy cam and the audio was retarded and it was just fucking looked awful. And then I seen yours and I was like, okay, I need to level up my game a little bit.
Look, I was fortunate in that Scott is a creative designer, creative director by trade. So in terms of aesthetics and the visuals, the guy can't miss. So
Yeah.
all I can really do and all I can claim to have contributed to that podcast is literally turning up and talking. It's really all on him in terms of like how good it looks. But yeah, I appreciate the high praise.
I hope Loston continues. So for everyone who doesn't know or doesn't follow Club Good, Josh just not cut ties. He just left because it was fucking time to leave.
Yeah.
It was time to hang it up.
Hang up the boots. 3 years is a long time.
Bro, I'm 2 years in and sometimes I want to run through a fucking brick wall.
Exactly.
People think, it's just a podcast. It's fucking so hard.
It takes so much effort. And when you have other things going on, like I have a job that I love that takes up a lot of time. I have the car thing with ACC that I do. And I train jiu-jitsu. So put all of that together. And I try and get laid once in a while. So you put all those things together and it's fucking complete chaos. And then when you got to get up and do a podcast that you kind of half can't be asked doing, it just adds a layer of stress to your existence that I just couldn't continue. It's like anything. You want to love what you do. And if you don't love it, then why are you still doing it? And that's kind of the conversation I had to have with myself and then Scott. And he understands. And I think, like I said to you today, we put out some great content. There's some great conversations that will now live on forever. We had conversations with the dudes who like nearly died in the Bali bombings and
Really?
Olympians. Yeah, Azza Lindsay, he fucking died 3 times. He got blown up in the Bali bombings. Those stories would have never have come to light if we hadn't have been able to have that conversation. So super thankful for it. And yeah, I hope that they stand up.
That's what like we were talking today. I was saying like if Club Good fucking is over and fucking it's still sick. Like it's still on the internet forever.
Exactly.
And it's fucking dope. It's a fucking good podcast. I really recommend everyone go check out. Some of those episodes are fucking fantastic.
Thanks,
and
bro.
now you're in Adelaide and you got the Adam Jones special.
Look, before we get into M16, I wanted the opportunity to blow some smoke up your ass. Because when we met, you told me about your podcast and it was in its infancy, and somehow you have managed to put this all together by yourself. I don't know how, because if I'd have tried to do it myself, I could never have done it. So for you to come from where you were to where you are today and how many good conversations you've had and how much of a loyal listenership you've built, super happy for you, super proud of you. Well done. Keep doing it.
I fucking appreciate it, man. I'm not joking. When I set myself benchmarks, like when I first started the podcast, I really wanted 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then I fucking knocked that off. And then I'm pretty sure that was around the time when I seen you guys, and you guys would have just done, I think you've just done the Jonah pod maybe, or maybe Craig was like a couple months off. But you were getting like really good. This is when Club Good was getting fucking, the highs and lows. Like you get fucking 1 month, you get 200,000 views, and then the next month you get 6.
Literally.
And it's fucking like, I was watching that and I was like, okay, now I need to like not beat, but now I know where I want to be next. And I've just surpassed that. And now I've got another goal in mind. And like, it's just, you keep going. But I fucking do this drunk.
Yeah.
I'm not drunk for all of them, but like 2 out of 10 I am. But like I fucking work 60 hours a week and then I come home and fucking edit.
Yeah, but you can tell you love it, and that's the thing. When you truly love something, it comes through in the way that you talk, and people can see it, and that attracts people. That energy will attract people. Just like, you glossed over how we first met, but fucking the boys came over from Adelaide. It was Sav and Jamie and Adam Jones, etc. Came over to Perth. I knew Adam because we'd done a pod with him. And he messaged me. I was meant to be getting my back tattooed because I started my back piece, and I was meant to be getting my back tattooed. I drove all the way down to Fremantle to get my back done, and I walked in and he's like, bro, you're next week, not this week. So I was like, fuck. Drove up the freeway. I'm like, what the fuck? What's everyone doing? It's 10 a.m. Rang Adam. We're at the pub. Come through. So I come through, and you, fucking best on ground already, completely fuck-eyed, sculling, I'm pretty sure it was pints, sculling pints, and then it moved on to some sort of hard liquor. And then we all migrated to Pika Bar. We're strangling each other out. And Pika Bar, for people who don't know, is a very woke bar.
Miles knocked out my tooth there.
He knocked out your tooth. Yeah, you guys were slapping the shit out of each other. In the most woke place. Like, if you want to find girls with fucking purple hair and really bad opinions on shit, go to Pika Bar.
And then these fucking 12 weapons from
reprobates. And then you and I had a dart out the front and got yarning, and I was like, fuck, this guy's crazy. And that's how it all came to be. And then you and I were just bouncing off each other with podcast shit. So I'm glad that I can finally close the loop, and now I'm back in your hood.
Did you go to the UFC that weekend?
I didn't.
Oh, bro, that you thought I was best on ground that day. You should have fucking seen me that on the UFC Sunday.
I saw some videos. You got choked out unconscious by an Olympian.
Yes, I did. Olympic athlete. And I'm pretty sure I met Bradshaw.
Yep.
And we went to a club, and the first thing I did was like, oh, you own Street X, let me suck your dick. And I literally got on my knees in the middle of this nightclub and tried to take his pants off and made him so uncomfortable. That's probably why I didn't come to Adelaide, fucking coward.
Oh, it's very on brand for him, though, to be honest. And he is a coward for not coming.
Yes. Well, it's hard being the owner of a very successful brand.
Yeah, that's what he'll tell you anyway.
But that week, that fucking UFC was phenomenal. And then you got this Sunday, which this podcast will be out after. Are you gonna watch it?
100%. I'll try. I don't know how, because it's like 4 a.m. or something, right, on Sunday.
Early.
Yeah.
Depends what you're gonna do tomorrow, really.
But in terms of like a card, I was reading something today. We got fucking Whittaker and Hamzat. And then we get Ilya and fucking Max after
insane,
that. That's
isn't
wild.
It's one of the best cards of the year.
That's wild.
Do you follow the UFC pretty closely?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Any kind of combat sport, really?
Yeah. UFC is my preference for sure. And I watch jiu-jitsu, obviously.
Do you train like striking as well as...
I don't, no. I'm fucking nearly 40, Sav. I'm 40 in January, so... I don't want to get
weathered.
Thanks, bro. That's probably Adam Jones today. I don't want to get punched in the head. I've never really enjoyed it. So jiu-jitsu for me has been a fairly recent acquisition. I've only been training about 3 years.
What's Rod's gym?
Costa Academy in
Costa
Myrie.
Academy.
Yep. Rod Costa, one of probably the most accomplished black belts in the country in terms of competitive pedigree.
One of the best local fucking MMA fighters in the scene in Perth.
100%, yeah. Bantamweight champion. I'm pretty sure he went up and won that title. So I think he won both. I should know, but
was Declan in there tonight rolling?
He was, yeah. Well, not rolling, but he taught a class, which was cool for me. I'd never met Declan. Lovely guy. I like how he runs classes too. Just no bullshit.
If you watch our first podcast together, this was pre-B team.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't grow a beard.
Yeah?
Nothing.
A child.
Went over there. 3 months later, came back like a caveman.
Right. Do you think he's on the Jeremy Skinner diet?
I think. Jeremy Skinner choked me unconscious.
Did he?
Yeah, on the first Adam Jones podcast I did. You never said.
Oh, I watched it. Yeah, he did
so
too.
So originally it was supposed to be Craig, but Craig Jones is also a coward. And I think he got COVID, or he just made that excuse maybe, so he couldn't do it. But Jeremy walks in at the end of the podcast, and I don't smoke a heap of weed. So when I smoke weed, I get fucking stoned.
Yeah.
Like, when I smoke weed, I can't function. I smoke weed to achieve a certain fucking frame of mind.
Yeah.
And I got so high on the podcast. I've met Jeremy at the end, and I'm like, okay, I've never gotten choked out before, and now it's my go-to move when I'm drunk. And I fucking get choked out. I like shake his hand, meet him, get choked out. I thought I full greened out. I didn't remember getting choked out. I thought I've literally fallen asleep on the podcast. And I get up like after 2 seconds and I'm like, I'm so sorry, man, I fell asleep. And then I like introduce myself to Jeremy like I never met him.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like a full reset blue screen that getting choked out.
If you can get past like the initial, if you're not scared of getting choked out, it's actually quite nice.
It's like a nice little rest.
I can see why people die of asphyxiation, like when they're fucking trying to beat themselves off. I can see it. I really can.
I've never had a danger wank myself, but
I never have either. But
I'm not going to say never.
Oh, I wouldn't. I would recommend it if you can pull the trigger at the right time.
The fear is dying.
Speaking of dying, so there is one episode of Club Good I have refused to listen to because I really wanted to hear this story for myself, because I have a really, really, really deep affinity and affection towards Japan and Japanese culture. And you have been arrested and thrown into prison in Japan.
I was, in fact, arrested and jailed in Tokyo, yes.
Maybe the worst, not the worst, like there's rougher countries you could be jailed in, but Japan would be a top 10 country. It would be a top 3 not third world country to get arrested in. Yeah,
you'd think that. They do things differently, though. Like, in terms of cleanliness and the lack of violence, that's great, but it's like mental warfare over there.
Yeah, they like, oh, fucking bro.
Yeah,
and they can't speak English. A lot of them.
Yeah, you're actually not allowed to speak at all if you can't speak Japanese. So I had a forced silence.
What was the lead up to the getting arrested and going to prison?
So Japan, for me, just like you, it's something that I love the place. I've been there for, this was my 5th time, I think, being there. It's always for snowboarding.
Like, you got too comfy.
I got too comfy, man.
You got too
I got real comfortable. Yeah. The thing is, we've done naughty things in Japan for the majority of the times we've been there and never had an issue. This one was different, and the trip started different. Like, we took a couple of mates who had never been to Japan before. One of them had never really seen snow before. Took him out to Hakuba in Nagano, and there was no snow. It was one of the worst seasons they'd had. So in a very small ski village, if there's no snow, there's only really one thing to do, and that is get fuck-eyed drunk. And the Japanese are very good at getting you fuck-eyed drunk.
Best country still to this day that I've been to, and I've travelled around a lot. Best country in the world to get fucking plastered with a local.
100%. They feed off it. They love it.
They love buying you drinks. They like just talk. You don't even have to speak the same language, and you can speak the same language when you're getting fucked up.
We taught so many Japanese people to say cunt. It was amazing.
I got a video on my phone of me trying to explain bikies to them, and I was in a little izakaya. And I've put, like, trying to explain what a bike is. I'm like, they ride bikes and they're in a gang and he's like a Mad Max.
Fucking pretty accurate, to be honest.
Like a Mad Max. But yeah, continue.
So, strong zeros over there. 500 mil of 9% Fury, just going down like cola. Fucking lovely. Have you ever had them?
The 196s?
Yeah, 196s, strong zeros.
9%ers from the 7-Elevens.
Yes,
fucking
yes,
$2 a can.
Yes.
Yeah, I got victimised by them my first night in Tokyo.
You're fucking wankered for $9, bro.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Terrible.
So we got shit-faced. I'll keep the pretense of this fairly short, because if you want the full details, go listen to the
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Episode
Josh
1
goes
of Club
to Japanese jail. So we historically always spend a night or two in Tokyo on the way out, because there's a couple of restaurants there that I love to go to, and we like to just hang out in Tokyo. It's a fucking cool place. So we roll in. I'm fucked on the train already. So we get into the hotel, and the boys are pretty amped. They're keen to go out. It's fucking 9 o'clock at night at this point. There's no point in going out because everything's not... It doesn't happen until fucking 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah.
So I said, me and my mate are going to go back to the hotel, have a snooze, and then we'll reconvene. And a couple of the boys were like, I'm going to go find some Coke. So I was fine, exactly. Straight to the Somalians. So, and mate, fucking, it was like $100 a gram, and it was rocket fuel, right? It's some of the best shit you've ever had. I'd go back to Japan just for that. So they end up procuring some of the marching powder, And they come storming back into the hotel room, like kick the fucking door off the hinges pretty much. They're that fucking on. They're like, this shit is fucking on. And we end up having this little hotel room party. Now, in the background, I'm flicking away on Bumble trying to get some action, right? And I match with this Russian bird.
I was going to say, you're not going to get any Japanese pussy, but you'll get a Russian everywhere you go.
Well, the Japanese actually don't mind a gaijin, a little foreign action. Yeah, they find us beautiful for some reason.
People would come up to me and take pictures with me.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever.
Well, yeah, you'd probably get photos taken of you in fucking downtown Perth, mate, because you are kind of interesting looking.
Oh, fuck.
You got a crazy haircut and fucking tattoos on the side of your head.
Yeah.
You're an outlier, mate.
Yeah, nice.
So we match with this. I match with this Russian bird, and she says, "Let's meet at the Park Hyatt," which is a very nice hotel, which should have been my first warning sign, to be honest. I meet her, and I say to the boys, "Look, I'm gonna go meet her. If she's cool, I will bring her out and meet you guys. So you guys go find a bar, and we'll reconvene. If she's a fucking psycho or a weirdo, I'm gonna ping her, and I'll come meet you, and we'll just do our night. Cool, no worries." So I go out, meet this girl. She's actually very cool. She lives in Japan. She runs tours for other Russian fucking tourists and shit. The Park Hyatt starts to close. We've had a few whiskeys. She's like, "Do you want to go to a bar?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool, no worries, but you're going to have to take me somewhere because I don't know the place. We're in Roppongi." And she's like, "Do you like..." Yeah, I know, right? "Do you like playing darts? Like, do you like pool and stuff?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, sounds great." She's like, "Okay, I know this cool sports bar." So we go there. Of all of the pubs and bars in Roppongi I could have walked into, we walk in the door and my two mates are standing at the bar.
Wow.
How serendipitous. And my two mates have managed to procure more of this marching powder. So they proceed to get fuck-eyed drunk. I have to pretend that I don't know them because I've told her that I'm traveling solo.
Oh, no. Now you got to double down on the lie.
It's this awkward thing, and it just kind of got a little bit weird. They end up getting fuck-eyed drunk, and literally one of them had to be carried out. He was fucked. I get this message on Messenger saying, "We've left a bag under the vase in the bathroom. If you want it, go and get it." So I did. And me and this girl end up like booking a little karaoke room off to the side and just railing this bag. Nothing left in it at the end of the night. They were trying to sting me as well. Like, I got charged $3,500 on my credit card for these bottles of fucking champagne that they kept bringing me that I never asked for.
Roppongi's fucked,
I know. It's a tourist trap. I think this girl
worked for the bar.
Correct. But I think she actually ended up liking me at the end. And there was like
a love story.
There was a change because we left the club together to go back to her place. As we walk out, 6:30 in the morning, there's 4 police officers standing at the door.
Oh, you're dicked.
4 police officers. And they're after her, not me.
Oh.
They stop her and they say, "Empty your handbag." She pulls out her stuff, pulls out a rolled up 1,000 yen banknote. And they're like, "Why have you got this rolled up?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know." She speaks perfect Japanese. So bear in mind, this is all going on in Japanese. I've got no idea going, "Yes, sashimi, good, yes, yes." Do you know how to say cunt?
Oishi.
Yeah. Oishi. So this is all going on, but I get the gist of it that this is not going the way that I want it to be going. Then they focus on me. They're like, "Where's your ID, passport?" I didn't have it because, you know, like a traveller, you put the passport in your safe and you keep it there.
Yeah, you don't take it out with you.
In Japan and most countries, it's actually a felony to not have some form of identification to produce when asked for it by a police officer.
I didn't know that.
All right. So they use that as the premise to arrest me.
Cunts.
So they arrest me, they arrest her. Put us in the back of the paddy wagon, take us to Roppongi police station. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, I'm fuck-eyed, Sav. Like, I'm very, very drunk at this point. I've been drinking piss for fucking 12 hours, done a bunch of rack. I'm not fucking in a good place. So they take us back, and I think in my head that I'm okay because this bag got finished ages ago. I don't have anything on me anymore. They can't do me with anything. So I get put into an interrogation room. We get split up. And they're talking to me, "How do you know this girl? Blah, 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 blah." I give them a story, half of a story. They're like, "Okay, we need to search you." I said, "No worries." So pull out my keys, pull out my wallet, pull out my phone, slap the phone on the table. On the back of the phone was an empty bag stuck to it. The whole vibe of the room changed. Immediately, they placed me in handcuffs. They snatched my phone. They snatched the bag and went into an evidence bag. And I've got an interpreter in there. There is 8 detectives in the room with me. And they've all got cauliflower ears. It's Roppongi Police Station. It's like judo. They are not fucking around.
And for people who don't know, who've never been to Japan, it's not like if you have interactions with Australian cops, you can kind of have some humour. There's even if they're arresting you or if you've been in trouble before, if you don't get a dickhead of a cop, he will be semi-humorous and a human. Cops in Japan are so fucking stoic.
You could not be more correct. They do not have the time to fuck around. And I think that just comes purely because of the population in Tokyo. You don't have time to fuck around. And the things they must see on a day-to-day basis would be insane. But the vibe of the room changed. I get put in handcuffs. And the interpreter looks at me basically going, oh shit, you fucked up here. Like, this is not good. And still at this point, I was like, it's an empty bag. You know, what can they really do me for? What I didn't realize in Japan was that possession and consumption are treated the same.
Oh, you fucking wanker. So even if you got an empty bag, they just presume you fucking got a kilo in it. They're like, yeah, this looks like it'd fit a kilo in there.
Correct. So they use the empty bag as premise to obtain a warrant for my urine sample. Now, I've seen CSI Miami. The first thing you say is, I'm not doing shit until I speak to a lawyer. And they say, cool. You can have a lawyer in 24 to 48 hours. I have a warrant for your piss in 2. And if you don't give it to me, I'll take it from you forcefully.
How do you forcefully take someone's piss? I would have held out to see how they did it.
I asked. I said, catheter? And the interpreter was like, yes. Oh, and no. I said, let's do this, boys. Oh, I'm pissing.
Your piss is melting the cup.
Literally. So they roll me into it feels to me like at this point, you know, when you're coming down and, you know, you're so drunk and you're in such a surreal situation.
You need another line.
Yeah, bad. I walk into what seemed like an endless row of urinals, like 1,000 just stretched on like the Matrix in this surgically clean white bathroom. And I'm not even exaggerating. There was 19 police officers standing in a line. The urinals ran this way. They were standing perpendicular to it. And women police officers, men police officers, plain clothes, uniformed, watching me fill this cup. Now, I've been on a fucking coke bender for fucking 12 hours. You think it took me 40 minutes to find my dick. Then I pull it out and I finally fill this cup. Piss all over my hands. It's very embarrassing. And I give it back to them and off they trot. Mate, Japanese efficiency, they came back with my positive sample in like 40 minutes.
In Australia, it takes 3 weeks.
Exactly. 40 minutes, positive sample on the desk. And immediately everything changed then. They put me on a bus and sent me to Asakusa detention center.
Do your friends know what's happened?
No idea. So, the morning I got arrested, I had a booking for Kakaya by the Sea, was my favorite restaurant that night. And the following day after that, I was due to fly out. So, I don't come home that day. The boys are thinking, he's with that chick. Like, it's all G. We've got dinner, he'll fucking show up. Because they're trying to ring my phone and shit, and it's obviously off. So, they're at dinner, and I don't show up. And now they're like, holy fuck, something's wrong. Josh is missing. The first thing they think is he's fucking dead or he's been kidnapped. Like, they don't think he's been banged up. I've been banged up. And we're due to fly out the following day at like 10 a.m. So they've got between 9 o'clock at night and 10 a.m. to fucking do something. So they ring hospitals, they're ringing police stations, and we got a lot of friends in Japan reaching out to them to see if they can help. But no one talks in Japan. So you get arrested, you've got 3 days in detention before you can see a lawyer.
Or even make a phone call of some
sort. No phone calls,
and who the
nothing.
fuck are you going to call?
You can only call in Japan.
I was going to say, how are you going to know any numbers to call anyone?
Exactly right.
You've got to call the Australian embassy or
exactly
something.
Right. So I knew that they were still there, and I knew that they'd be there for 2 more days. I was in jail. They were frantically trying to figure out where I was in the interim. My first night, I get taken back to Asakusa, and they do the whole thing, you know, like to make you squat and cough and, you know, yada, yada, yada. I get put into the cell with what I called like the Japanese Darth Vader. He was tiny, a tiny man, but had the deepest voice. Like, imagine like a Japanese Darth Vader, but with emphysema. Like, it was hell deep. Very, very not like him. And like the voice didn't match the fucking face is what I'm saying. And he spoke no English. So I was just in there with this random dude. Dinner time came, and that's the first kind of glimpse I got into how fucked this food situation was there. Like, it's just a bento box, but with like cured fish that smelt like the bottom of a cray pot. Like,
it's to Japanese taste. It's not to Western taste.
All cold. No hot food at all. So I had to deal with that. I ate what I could. I wasn't really that hungry at that point anyway. I was kind of stressing.
I was going to say, were you like trying to be relatively calm?
Yeah.
Or like, were you fucking... Because if that was me, I would just succumb and be like, this is my life now. I have to stab someone.
To assert dominance.
I'm going to have to find the biggest Japanese man and headbutt him or something.
Well, the thing is with the detention centres is that it's kind of like our lockup here in Perth, or in Australia, where... the detention centre in its infrastructure is very, very primitive, but you're there for a long time. So
we would call it a remand centre.
Yeah, but no outside at all. I didn't see the sun in fucking 3 months.
Wait, how long were you there for?
I was there 71 days in total.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say you found your mates and like it was happily ever after you in jail.
Nearly 3 months, yeah.
But did your parents know where you were?
Yeah, well, eventually.
So when did your friends find out?
So, I'm having dinner with...
Are you okay? Did that like severely damage you?
It didn't.
Did you make boys in there?
Yeah, I've still got some on Instagram.
Did you join a gang?
Yeah, I wanted to.
I thought you were there for fucking 2 days.
No, I was there for 3 months, brother.
Dude, that's fucked.
Yeah. So I was having dinner with Japanese Darth Vader, and then eventually another dude comes into the cell. He's a young guy, Yude, who was like a DJ. He's kind of like a cool Japanese kid, and he can speak a little bit of English. So this is the first opportunity I got to kind of ask him, like, what's the deal here? Like, how fucked am I? And he was like, look, I don't really know about sentencing and stuff, but from here, tomorrow morning, you go to the prosecutor's office.
There'd be visa issues and stuff as well, surely.
Possibly. And then the next day after that, you got to go to the judge's office. So that's kind of all I knew going in. Lights out. Well, I say lights out, but that's part of the fucking mental warfare aspect of those places. The cells, very small. Like, from that blackboard to that blackboard, this is the space we had for 3 people.
Yeah, like a 3x3.
Exactly, if that. And they're wedge-shaped, so they kind of come in at the front.
Absolute dogs.
Dogs. And where there's nothing in the room. It's just empty, right? It's just like carpet on the floor. No beds, nothing. So at bedtime, you have to go out to the storeroom, pull out your like bed, which is like a doona folded in half, and you lie on that, and a pillow this sized, very skinny, like a pizza box. It's very, very uncomfortable. And they don't turn the lights off at night. And the guards are walking around fucking clanging keys and shit. And I'm a bad sleeper at the best of times, so that was pretty fucking troubling, traumatic. But I end up going to sleep, and because I've just been on this fucking, ruckus couple of days, I fell asleep pretty quickly.
Would have thought it was a bad dream.
Yeah, no shit. But I woke up, unfortunately, I was still there. And I had to go to the prosecutor's office. So that process is they take you out of your cell. Well, the process for the jail itself, wake up 6 a.m, you go out, you're allowed out of your cell to brush your teeth at the taps, which are like right out the front of the cell. And then they give you a toilet brush, a bucket, and a vacuum. You got to vacuum the cell, clean the toilet, hand it back, and then each cell does that. There's like 11 cells lined up kind of in like a semicircle around these taps. And then after that, you can go out to what I call the kennel, which is like basically the size of your shed here, but with a mesh roof.
Dogs.
And you're allowed to shave out there. You get 10 minutes, and then you got to go back. And then you don't leave again. So you're inside 23 plus hours. A day. You're sat on the cell. All you can do in there is read or write. You can't do both at once.
Smoke?
No smoking.
Good.
No smoking. They banned smoking in all Japanese prisons like fucking 10 years ago.
Fucking dog.
Oh, the Japanese hate it because Japs love a smoke.
Fucking dogs.
The Japs love a smoke.
So at what point did your friends find out?
So I go to the prosecutor's office. I do that, and I find out that they're only charging me with not having my passport. And I'm like, holy shit, maybe the detectives haven't like lodged the charge yet. So if I can get out and they can't find me to rearrest me, I'm out. So I wanted to play that angle. So I go to the prosecutor, no worries. Next day, go to the judge. The judge decides whether it's right to detain me for another 10 days while they investigate my crime. My crime being no passport. So I go see the judge, and the judge is like, the whole judge system is crazy. I'll touch on that in a minute, but the judge basically said, no, I don't believe you should be detained for another 10 days. Based on this charge, I'm going to release you. Fucking awesome. Now I'm doing the maths in my head. I'm going to go back. My passport's at the hotel still. I'm hoping the boys have packed a bag. I'm going to go straight to the hotel. I'm going to go straight to the airport. I'm going to call my dad, let him know I'm okay. If I can get into the departure lounge, they can't get me there. I'm done. I don't care if the fucking flight's in 4 days. I'm going to sit there until I can get the fuck out.
You've made an escape plan.
That's the plan in my head, right?
Michael Schofield.
Now, I think they did this to me on purpose, but...
They tried to give you false hope.
Yeah. I think they did this to me on purpose. They fill the bus. So the bus gets filled with prisoners from all the other detention centers. Roppongi, Asakusa, Shibuya, Shinjuku. They're all the detention centers all filled up. They dropped me off last. I was the very last person to get off the bus. And that only happened that one night. I get back. And the guy's like, you're being released. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, it's happening. I'm getting out. They give me my shoes back. They lace them for me. They put my jeans on. They put my fucking jacket on. They open the door, and the two detectives that originally arrested me are standing there with another pair of handcuffs. Oh. Rearrest me.
What was the feeling like when you seen it?
Heart sank, bro. Oh. Now the process starts again. Terrible. So now I've got to go back to the prosecutor's office the next day, back to the judge's office. Now I'm on a drug charge, and it's consumption. This is bad. This is now bad. I get back, and on the following day, after I get back from the prosecutor's office having this conversation, I get back, and I've got this duty lawyer. This is the first time I've been able to speak to someone about it. And this duty lawyer comes in, can't speak fuck all English. He's fucking 900 years old. He's got the Japanese law book with him. And I say to him through the interpreter, so like, what's the go here? Like, what's the worst case scenario? And she says through him, or he says through her, the minimum sentence for your charge is 7 years in jail. The minimum sentence. And immediately I was like, yeah, fucking
makes my hands
pardon?
Sweaty.
7 years. And Japanese jail isn't just like go sit in fucking Heikia and play PlayStation. It's a working prison.
Yeah, it's a slave labour farm.
Yeah, you make bags for 7-Elevens, like folding fucking paper bags. And it's fucking regimented. So like I got fucking pretty worried at that point. So we finished this meeting. I have no confidence in this fucking lawyer whatsoever because they just have to do it. It's part of the fucking rule. Like every 6 months or something, they have to like look after someone for free. Didn't give a fuck about me at all. I asked them at that point to be like, can you send an email for my dad? Here's his fucking email. Just let him know that I'm okay. Yeah, okay. They didn't send it. So I go back to my cell. Sitting there, have dinner. Jap cop comes over. He's like, Nanaban, you get numbers. So I was number 7, Nanaban. Nanaban, Bengoshi. I turned to Yude. I was like, Bengoshi, what's that? He's like, lawyer. I was like, I just fucking met the lawyer. What do you mean? Anyway, go and see this new lawyer. And it's this chick. She speaks beautiful English. First words out of her mouth was, Josh, your dad sent me. And I was like, oh, shit. Woo! Yes. Someone knows where I'm at.
Shout out to Mr. Gray.
Yes. And now I've got a lawyer that can fucking speak English. And turns out, crazily, Moi Miyamoto, the lawyer, was married to a guy from Perth. Oh. And they lived in Tokyo. And she works for one of the best defense lawyers in the country. And she was amazing. Cost me a fortune, but she was amazing. So at that point, I knew that at least my family knew that I was alive for a start.
You haven't contacted any of them
at
this point. You haven't heard their voices or anyone. You're just fucking in Japan eating fermented fish.
Yes. And she told me that the boys had gone home, which was very important to me because...
You didn't want them to wait there for you.
Well, I had to lie to the police about who I was with, where I was staying, how I found the coke.
Because they would have piss tested them too.
Immediately. They would have raided the hotel and Like, I saw photos when they did eventually find out where I lived when I told them.
You took the fall, bro.
They went back to the hotel, took photos. There's empty bags in Macca's fucking containers and shit. They would have been fucked.
See how blessed we are in Australia, people?
I know.
See how fucking blessed we are in Australia?
Do you know, in my empty bag, there was 0.03 of a gram remaining.
You could give a baby that and they'd be fine.
They'd be fine. And yeah, that's what I got charged for.
What was the feeling like when they said, Josan, free? Were you just like...
After the whole thing?
You're like, were you... It's hard, like, that would have been such a wild... I didn't realise it was fucking that long.
Yeah.
I held out hearing this story thinking, oh, dude, that's like a Bert Kreischer machine level story. Because... But this actually happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was wild.
They could make a movie of that, and that's a really good plot.
Yeah. So that next day, I had to go to the prosecutor's office, and then I told them the actual story.
Why wasn't this in the news?
It was.
Was it?
Yeah. I was on Perth Now and shit.
Really?
Yeah. If you search Josh Tokyo, it's one of the first links that comes up.
Dude, what was like... Did a lot of them in jail speak English?
No. There was maybe 2 guys in there that spoke half decent English.
Did you pick up Japanese kind of?
No. I can ask for shit like toilet paper, like Tanto-san, Mizu kudasai, that's officer, can I have some water? Or Chirishi kudasai, which is like, give me toilet paper.
What was like, did you bump out, was there anyone in the prison that was like a bit fucking sketch?
Yeah.
Well, obviously they're in prison, they would be, but did anyone stand out
Not
to
so
you?
much sketchy. Asakusa is a very historical part of Japan, a very old part of Japan. So if I was stuck in Roppongi Detention Center, that's where all the gangsters are. The
I was going to say, because Roppongi's
notorious.
Roppongi's where you go as a Westerner to party hard.
Correct.
It's like I don't know, what would you, like a Seminyak or like whatever you would...
Like
whatever
Patong, you know, that Bangalore Road or whatever. Pattaya, that's the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
But fucking... in Japan, it's very... Like, in Japan, when you see a hard cunt, it's very different to seeing a Western hard cunt. Because in Japan, if you're a hard cunt, you have to be a hard cunt. You know what I mean? It's that sounds weird, but it makes sense when you're there. Because in Japan, the government is so on everyone that if you're willing to juxtapose what they want you to do and go against what they want you to do, you're a bad man.
Yeah, they'll make you suffer.
Like, you are a bad, bad man. I only saw... one Yakuza while I was there. I could tell it wasn't a Yakuza because he was a very old man, had heaps of tattoos, and he was missing a finger.
That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, it was all the signs.
In Asakusa, there was no Yakuza guys. There might have been a couple upstairs. I was in the downstairs one, and to be honest, like the majority of the guys on my level were drugs or stealing. And there's a couple of really old dudes in there.
What did they call you?
Like Nanabang. That we just called each other by numbers. No, number
really?
7.
Your numbers.
Number
Squid
7.
Games.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, did that fuck you up for a while?
No.
Now, like, hindsight, it's a hilarious story, but at the time, you would have been like, my poor family.
Yeah, like I think while I was in there, the thing that weighed heaviest on me was like I'm a very independent, self-sufficient human. Like in the most part. Being a burden on other people, especially my dad, who had not been having a great time at the time, and then having to deal with me as a fucking 35-year-old man who should know better.
This was like not long ago.
It was 2020. That's an aspect
pre-COVID, right before COVID.
Brother,
Isn't it?
I got arrested February 2020. You know what happened in February 2020?
What happened in February 2020?
COVID.
Bro, imagine if you got stuck over there for COVID.
That's what was going to happen. I was there the whole time. I didn't get out for 3 months. So I didn't get out February, March, April, end of April I got out.
You're so lucky.
Bro, they were contemplating cancelling my trials because people were getting infected.
You're so lucky, bro. You could still be in there today.
Golden Week was after the trial, which was like tools down for the Japanese. They don't do anything. I could have been another 6 months, but because my lawyer was so good, she pushed and pushed and pushed to not get my trial cancelled. Which I think was one of my saving graces.
Just lucky. Forgot to put my fucking laptop on charge. But that's like I said before, that's like a Bert Kreischer machine level story. That's like if I watched a movie with that plot and they dramatized it a bit, and they put a young stud in there to act for
Yeah,
it.
it's called The Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise, brother.
Oh, bro, that Russian cunt. I want to go to... Have you gone back? Oh, have you gone back?
That's the first... No, well, I'm actually banned. I can't ever go back.
Ever?
No, once you're a foreigner and you get convicted of a felony...
Oh, that sucks.
Now, there is some talk that potentially after 5 years...
But they'll be on you. They'll be so on you.
Then that's fine. I would never do anything dumb again over there. I wouldn't. It's
South Korea it is.
Yeah, it's too dangerous. But I just love the fucking snow in Japan, so it was
That
really hard.
sucks.
I would have to like call the embassy and be like, look, is it doable? And you know when you go in, you got to sign those cards, be like, have you ever been convicted? And I'd have to tick fucking yes.
In Japan.
Yeah, I know. Kind of scary.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. That's probably the worst part of the story.
Yeah.
Because Japan, that's like a horror story.
Yeah.
Japan is fucking, you can go out and you can get so loose. And it's fun. But we were in Shinjuku and we went to Memory Lane, did all that fucking gay shit. And then we went drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was drinking with biz salarymen just all night. And fucking we went past Golden Guy because everyone said that's where you go to like party. And we went past Golden Guy.
Dog shit.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. And these, like you said, Somalians come up to you with cocaine. I was not game enough. I was not game enough to try it. I was like, I'm in Japan. I'm not that drunk yet to the point where I'm stupid enough to take it. And like, but there was one night, like Japanese people are very sheepish. They're very shy. They're very, you don't act like you would in Australia when you're drunk there. Like I remember one night in Osaka, we met these Americans. Shout out to fucking the Americans, fucking Jordan and Michael, best cunts I've met overseas ever. We befriended them so hard. We were with each other every night and drinking hard. And I got so drunk in Osaka one night, I got Australian drunk. And I was like... And I didn't want to do this the whole trip, but it was one of the last nights and I fucking got so loose. I would have drunk... Like, I spent 1,200 Australian dollars on alcohol. Dude, 1,200 Australian in Japan.
That'll get you very fucking drunk.
Like, I could have gotten alcohol poisoning. And I was in... And, you know, it's very narrow fucking streets. And I'm walking and I'm trying to walk to my hotel and I'm fucking start running and I'm running diagonally and running into fucking poles and shit, and the Japanese people are like, what the fuck? And I invented like my own Japanese language because I couldn't speak Japanese. I'm like, I just added u to stuff. like biru.
That's actually the correct
And
word.
that's what gave me my fucking balls, because I was like, I got that one right. So it must be fucking... But it is a fantastic country. For anyone who hasn't been to Japan, I feel so bad for you.
They held me hostage for nearly 3 months and I still recommend people go.
What do they call that? Stockholm syndrome.
Well, fucking look at me jumper, mate.
So you got some of the boys that you still talk to from
Yeah. Man, it's wild out there. Like, I only know by his fucking name, which is like Sanju Hachiban, which I think is like Ichini-san 38. He was number 38. He was 18 years old, man, and got caught with like a kilo of coke, which is a fucking shit ton.
Is he still in there?
Yeah, man, he got sentenced for like 18 years.
He's still in there.
Well, yeah, he was 18.
Do you talk? You obviously can't talk
I can't, no, but I have his Instagram. The dude who I first met, Uday, he's out and fucking living his life. He's a DJ, cool kid in fucking Tokyo. And the other dude, who was one of the guys that could speak English, was a Pakistani kid called Nicky, who was in the cell next to me, and he had overstayed his visa by 3 years. No issue.
They won't fuck with that over there, eh?
Had a girlfriend and worked at a 7-Eleven and shit, like full undocumented alien.
I'm not being racist, but even in Japan, 7-Elevens, mainly Indians.
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't know what attracts them to it. I don't know what that is. If there is any India, actually, I got like 7% listeners from Bangladesh. If you can please comment. It's fucking good, bro. I really want to go to South Korea though.
Yeah, I'd like to do that as well.
Apparently, I have friends that have been there, and very similar to Japan, but more westernized.
Yeah.
Like you can get crazier there. But apparently it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And the girls. I've got a fucking yellow streak in
fever,
at the moment, yeah.
Oh, so
It might be because I'm nearly 40. That's what happens to men, I think.
When I was 18, I think I went on a solo trip to Europe and I did like 7 weeks by myself. And I can speak Greek, so I didn't book anything. Like I just was going to go to Mykonos and figure it out. Got to Mykonos, literally landed, got fucking blackout drunk I've got my luggage with me. I haven't organised any accommodation. I've met these Aussies. We go to this club that's on a little island. You got to catch like a 10-minute ferry to go to this club, and it's just, I think it's Tropicana. It's literally just a club on this tiny island, and there's 3 boats a day, and you can't get off the island once you get on there unless you're leaving it to go to another island. And I've gotten there, and there's these fucking Aussies, and they got pingers, and I'm like, I've been in Mykonos for 25 minutes. I've found Aussies. They got pingers. I was like, give me 10. Because they were only like fucking $6, and I was like, "Fucking give me 10 immediately." And he's like, "If you will die. Like, this is not Australia. You will fucking die. I'll sell you 1." And I was like, "I'm 10 or nothing, mate." And he's like, "I'll give you 2 for free, but don't take both. Took fucking both."
Oh,
Boof.
wow. You're a brave man.
Fucking boof. Woken up. Maybe 27 hours later, in this room, I've thought I've been kidnapped at this point. Woke up, walked out, talking to the concierge. I'm like, she's like, "You right, sir?" And I was like, yeah. She's like, "You came and paid for 2 weeks accommodation last night." And I was like, "Where am I?" And she's like, "You're in Eos." And I was like, "Where's..." Like,
That's another island, isn't it?
It was 4 hours away.
And you got no recollection of getting there?
Nothing.
Holy
She's like, "You
shit.
came here, gave us €1,000 cash for this room, and said to explain that you were safe in the morning." And I was like, "Okay." And then I've gone out, and I'm like in this fucking place. I don't know where I am. And I'm like, what does everyone do here? I've walked out, and you know when you're on holiday and you can look at someone and you know they're Australian? Mm-hmm. Like, even though we're white, you can look at someone overseas. It's just how we carry ourselves. You just know someone's Australian. Mm-hmm. Everyone's Australian on this island. And I'm like, where the fuck, what do I do here? And they're like, "You're in Eos, brother. This island is only nightclubs." Mm-hmm. Best time of my life. Best week of my life. There's this fucking club called Far Out Beach Club on the bottom of it. I've gone there. It's like 11 a.m, 12 p.m. Timmy Trumpet's fucking playing. Will Sparks is fucking playing. Like at 12 o'clock on a fucking Tuesday, Arvo. And I'm like, what is this? And it was fucking wild. I fucking fell in love with like a drug lord's daughter that trip. He got murdered like a week before I got there.
Holy shit.
My dad was dropping me off at this house. So one of my mates, Nathan, who I met, because my go-to move in Europe when I was in Cyprus was, because I was there for like 4 weeks in Ayia Napa, I would take my whole kit off, oil myself up, and I'd just go jogging. Because I got so many tattoos, it'd be such a good way to meet people to drink with. Because people in Europe never seen that shit. In Australia, it's normal to have head-to-toe tattoos. In Europe, no one fucking has that unless you're a gangster. And I was running, and I met this English dude whose job was to stand out front of a strip club and spray foreigners with water and give them pamphlets to go to a strip club. And we was chilling there, and the owner of the strip club's daughter comes up. She's fucking gorgeous. And I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" She added me on Instagram. She's like, "What are you doing tonight? You want to come over and drink?" And I was like, "Yeah, fucking oath." And my dad was in Cyprus at the same time. I'm like, "Can you drop me at this house?" Because he had a car. Gone to this area. He's like, "Are you sure it's in that area?" I was like, "Yeah." And drops me at this house. Looks like Scarface's house. Like, the front yard has a roundabout.
Oh, yes.
Automatic gates.
Awesome.
3-story. I've walked in, and I'm like, "So you family like lives here?" And she's like, No, just me, 18-year-old girl, just her, fucking 9 bedroom, 7 bathroom house and a maid. And I was like, it's fucking a bit peculiar. I was like, what about your family? She's like, my dad got murdered last week because he did. There was a shooting in Iron Apple the week before. Russians shot this dude in the head and fucking killed him. And I was like, okay, this isn't my vibe. So I fucking just bailed. But it's funny when you see people that have never even left Australia.
Yeah, I couldn't fathom it. I think...
Do you have a travel bug or...
100%, but I was lucky. I mean, I grew up in the Middle East, so I lived in Bahrain I did all of my primary schooling.
The story gets better.
I know.
You grew up in Bahrain.
Man of mystery.
You grew up in Iran.
Did all of my primary schooling in Bahrain.
You can speak Arabic.
Not a single word.
What the fuck? Oh, was you what did your family do for work?
Dad worked in IT. So he worked for like golf business machines back. It was 1991, so just after the Gulf War had ended. And Q8 was putting mainframes back in for the Ministry of Defence.
Where were you born?
Fremantle.
You were born in Perth,
yep.
but you moved to... What a fucking change of pace.
I did a stint in the UK. We lived there when I was really young. Came back to Perth, and then Dad lost his job, so we ended up going to Bahrain and spent... I did like year 2 to year 6 over there. Came back for year 7.
Like at a white boy school?
Yeah, St. Christopher's.
Really?
Yeah, English school.
Did you lose your virginity in Bahrain?
No, I did not.
Really?
Year 6 would be very early you lose your virginity.
Not in here, not in Morphevale.
Fuck yeah. Let's go, Morphevale.
Not in Morphevale. Shout out to Morphevale.
I didn't lose my virginity till leavers, I was well and truly old at that point.
It's not. Is that the romantic thing? Back now, those fucking 12 years old, bro, is normal. If my son came to me and he was 15 and he was still
something wrong with him,
he's a homosexual.
Just tell me, it's fine.
It's fine. Just please lose it somehow.
Yeah, I grew up over there, man. So I've been lucky in that I'm fairly well traveled, and that's something that I've obviously had a bug for. Like, I've been all over the world. Me and Scott, who I did the podcast with, literally traveled America, Europe, all over the place. My other friend Matt, who I travel with, we've been all over the world snowboarding. Yeah, I'm lucky in that sense.
So where are we going?
Where are we going? Fuck. I want to do Vietnam.
Don't get me fucking started.
Will.
I go into these fucking real deep, dark, autistic fucking obsessions, and my newest one is Vietnam.
Really?
Vietnam, to me, looks like maybe the coolest country, if not coolest Southeast Asian country ever.
Well,
everyone I know that goes to Vietnam says, and when you go travel a country, you can't. But I hate when people go to fucking Thailand and they're like, you're potato and fucking that's sick. It's like, no, go somewhere and do cocaine and petrol with.
I want to hire a scooter, man, and just fucking ride.
Apparently, Vietnam's fucking phenomenal.
My dad did it. I can't remember the cities that he went to, but they basically got a group of boys together. There's 4 of them. They hired scooters and a mechanic and just rode from one side of the country to the other.
Apparently, it's fucking phenomenal.
Well, you're a fucking fellow food aficionado. So
I always see in your story that you like that. There's just something about fucking Southeast Asian street food. In Japan, it's everything. Like, I travel purely for food.
Yes,
I traveled to Japan purely for food. My ex at the time was getting annoyed because I was like, I have to eat 9 times a day. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat not to enjoy the food. I want to eat because I need to taste
yes.
everything I've seen on
YouTube.
YouTube.
The thing I will say about Japan is that they do everything better than everyone else. So
everything.
If you want the best pizza you've ever had, it's not in Napoli.
It's in Japan.
It's in Japan.
If you want the best anything, even like I got a lot of people who on this podcast that love graffiti. Japanese people are the best at graffiti. They're the best at cooking. They're the best at fucking efficiency. Like the efficiency. I didn't see a car accident while I was there. The jail was probably a lot nicer than a lot of jails in fucking...
Very clean.
Probably not good to be in there, but like, do you know what I mean? It's better than Somalia.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm taking Japan every time.
Yeah, but like, it's just, they're better, but the street food in Southeast Asia would be different because I feel like the cheapness of it would baffle me.
But you got to remember, like, Vietnam is so special because of the French influence.
That's why they got the barmies and fucking
baguettes and shit. You know, the foie gras essentially is the pate.
You fuck with cooking.
100%. Like, I fucking love a wok.
I see you on your story.
I fuck with a wok. But the thing that got me excited about cooking was simplicity. I love traditional Italian cooking where you can make a pasta like aglio e olio or like a carbonara that has 3 ingredients, but you use fucking good ingredients.
That's the best thing about Japanese food. Like, just going and get a nice piece of sashimi or like. For me, I don't know if this is controversial or not. When I went to Japan, I was very well versed on Japanese food because I've worked in Asian kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was going to fucking destroy bowls of ramen every day. I went in peak summer.
Oh, no, it's not ramen weather, brother.
But then I went there and I was eating it. And then, but I got 2 books inside. I could actually give you it. I got a whole book about yakitori.
Oh, one of my favourite fucking things. I bought a fucking grill, brother.
Yakitori, to me, because when I like to eat, I love to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's in Japanese culture, it's so synonymous. Like, people,
engineered for it.
And yakitori, it's like they don't even ask you if you want another drink. They just keep pouring it. And I remember one night I went to this izakaya. It fucking fit 6 people, no English.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky I sat next to one man, and this man happened to be very good at speaking English. He was a salaryman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the guy I was talking about with the bikies and telling him how to say, he's like, thank you, cunt. And he was just dope. And like there, you bought a litre bottle of sake, and they put your name on it. And you leave it there.
You can go back.
And then you go back. And me and this cunt finished a whole litre. And we were smashing beers and it was having yakitori. And they don't even... they just bring you food. Like, you don't even order and it's just...
Is there a better beer food than coal-fired meats?
Ramen, don't get me wrong, is fucking amazing. But... yakitori, for me, it's just... You sit down, it's a social food.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like.
100%. The other thing with yakitori, and it's something about Japanese cooking in general, is that while from the outside it looks simple, it's heavily layered.
Mate.
And the layers are so intensely complicated. Like, a dashi stock is so crazily hard to produce outside of...
It's hard to perfect. It's even like with yakitori, they got this thing called tare. And tare is like...
Yes.
Some tares will be fucking 400 years old.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't replicate that. And you
chance.
can't replicate how they cut the meat. It's just how they cut it. It takes 20 years of training just to fucking cut it. And then you go to a sushi restaurant and there's a fucking 40-year-old man there that is still an apprentice because he hasn't mastered it yet, because he will never exceed his even though he's better than the owner, he will never admit it.
No.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's such a culture.
The thing with the Japanese people is that something we don't have here is that the concept of passing down skills. And, like, I watched a documentary once on sake makers, and there was like 3 generations of one family in there, like, passing down knowledge and tradition from person to person, and they are so obsessed with perfection that it comes out.
I wouldn't even call it perfection. I think it's just a never-ending thing with them that they can always be better. Like, there's no such thing as perfect in Japan.
Yeah, I agree with you.
When that bar that I went to where we were eating yakitori and drinking sake, they gave me this dish, and it was pork throat. Mm-hmm. It was the throat of the pig, and it was just cartilage, and it was just served with lemon and salt. Perfect dish for me because I love that texture. And then we were talking. He was translating with the owner, and this little old woman. She was like 74, 75. I was like, how old, like, this place? And she's like, it's been in my family 500 years. And I was like, what the fuck?
It's a concept we can't grasp.
But that's not weird over there.
No.
It's not weird.
It's a concept we can't grasp. Our country is too young.
If you're a fucking man in Japan and your dad has a business, you don't have the option.
You're working there,
and
bro.
there's something that people might think that's oppressive, but it's not, because that's how you master shit.
Correct.
You don't master shit in one generation. You master it in 10.
Correct.
Fucking us white people, we're fucked. We are so fucked. We work at a job for 4 days, 5 days a week, and then we're like, I'm entitled to this bag on a Friday.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is we're always taught that, my dad would say, I want better for you than I had. I don't think that concept exists in Japan.
No, it's like you're going to fucking... Is my shit not good enough for you?
Exactly. Exactly.
You're going to do what I say.
Exactly.
And if you're the older son, you get dicked extra hard. If you're...
Rightfully so.
Because if you're the older son, you are never good enough.
No chance.
No, I love it over there, man. But like Vietnam is my next Japan because I was so obsessed with Japan, I really needed to go there. But now... it's Vietnam for me.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my next Southeast Asian jaunt as well. When I get around to it.
I've never been to Thailand.
I've been to Thailand a couple of times. I really, really like it. I think you would too. But it's kind of got a bit of a Bali vibe to it now.
I don't. That's why I have no interest. I want to go to Chiang Mai.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to the Muay Thai fights. I want to eat street food, but Thailand has lost its mysticism for me. Ever since they fucking legalized weed, I can just tell what it's going to be like when I go over there. It's just going to be me getting fucking loose. And in Japan, there was that every single day, but there was also a historical factor to it. Like, it was cool to go see shit. Mm-hmm. But I know if I go to fucking Thailand, I'm just going to get roped into fucking getting retarded every single night.
Yeah, it's engineered to get you fucked up, for sure.
And the locals know that's where they make their money, so they angle it to that.
100%.
But then you can also get someone fucking just arrest you for no reason. Imagine going to a Thai jail.
Yeah, fuck that, bro. But the thing is, with Thai jail, you could probably buy your way out. In Japan, there's none of that.
Oh, fuck.
There's none of that.
Yeah, it's fucking... But yeah, like, if you want the deep story of it, go and watch episode 1 of Club Good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at high level, like, to kind of put a pin in that story, it's like...
Just keep talking. I'm just going to go get more beers.
Sure. I fucking did 71 days in total. I read 71 books. 71 books. Because all you could do over there is read or write. So I wrote a couple of diaries, which I really still treasure because I don't know about you, but I forget shit fucking real easy. So now I've got like 2 books of just writing of like the way I was feeling. And
did you? So you made a journal of the experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why
while I was over
the fuck
there.
haven't you turned that into an actual book?
I think it's for me, man. I think it's for me. I went through a lot of mental...
It would have been a dark time for it. Like, it's a funny story to tell to the boys, and it's like, it's a fun story now that it's gone, but that would have been fucking traumatic.
Yeah, but the thing is, man,
Do you reckon, would you take it back? If it didn't hurt, like, if it wasn't for the anguish that it caused your family?
No, I think I needed it.
I was going to say, because then you would have... Do you reckon it calmed you down a bit?
I was on a kind of shitty path, Like, I had been on a tear before I went over there, and in my head... I kind of forgot about this point of view until now, actually, but in my head, I was like, I'm going to go to Japan, I'm going to get fucking lit, I'm going to snowboard with my boys, and then I'm going to come back and I got to fucking get my shit in order, because I had a good job, but I wasn't happy where I was at with it, and, I had an equity stake, but it kind of wasn't really working out, and there was a whole bunch of turmoil going on back home that I needed to sort out, and I wanted to be like, okay, I'm going to have this jaunt, let my hair down, and then come back and I'm going to knuckle down. I think the universe said, I don't fucking believe you. I need you to put a full stop on this.
Make you do it.
And fucking readjust and affirm, I suppose, what you want to achieve. The thing that I will say about myself, and this is not me blowing my own horn, it's just something that ingrained in me, I deal with stressful situations very well. I didn't once melt down while I was in there because I'm logical. I didn't see a point to it. I talk in the podcast that I did on Club Good about circles of influence, and it's something that I've kind of carried through. I don't even know who said it, which it still bugs me to this day, but the inner circle and the outer circle. The inner circle is the things that you have influence over that you can actually change. The outside things is things that do affect you, but you have no control over. And in my situation, I could control what I did day to day, and that was I'm going to read, I'm going to do push-ups, I'm going to do squats, I'm going to write my journal.
Detox.
Exactly. And I'm going to fucking be stoic about it. The judge, the cops who pissed me off, the lights being on at night, the cunt who I was in the fucking cell with at the end, Rockaban, the Yakuza guy, big fat piece of shit that just snored and ate like a pig. I can't affect that. I can't affect change. Don't worry about it. So I kind of got into this routine where I was like just doing me. And I think my biggest regret, like sort of coming all the way back, was like my dad, my lawyer told me that my dad was coming to see me. Oh. And my dad has always wanted to go to Japan, and I felt so terrible that he had to come for that.
Yeah.
And he rolled up, and I didn't know when he was going to come. I knew the day, but I didn't know when. And 5:30 came around just before dinner. I get the knock on the door, Nanaban Bengoshi, and I was like, fuck, it's my dad. So I knew he's going to be wigging out, and he's going to be very fucking stressed and scared for me.
Did you... Afterwards, were you just like, you can punch me in the face, it's fine?
He was just so happy that I was alive. I don't think that
it transcended
madness,
the anger.
Yeah,
it transcended it.
He wasn't mad. I said in the podcast that he wasn't mad. He was like disappointed, and he's corrected me on it before. He wasn't disappointed with me. He was just like
happy you're alive.
Happy I'm alive. But I was like, I don't want him to worry further, so I'm going to go in there positive as fuck. So I opened the door to the lawyer's thing. I'm like, welcome to Tokyo. And he didn't even fucking flinch. He was just like, fucking
this cunt.
Yeah, just like he's obviously upset and
if
shit.
If you don't mind me asking, or you can tell me off camera if you don't want to say, how much of a hole did this burn in your pocket?
40 grand.
Oh, it's not bad. That's not...
It could be worse.
That's not as bad as fucking it could have been.
It could be worse.
I thought it would have been more.
And in fairness, like...
But for 3 months, that's not that great.
Yeah, it's not that great. I had a lot of friends who pitched in and helped me, which was...
Fund me?
No, none of that.
Get Josh home?
I would have felt hell bad about it because... It's my mistake. I didn't even want people chipping in. I would have given all my credit cards to my dad and be like, just put it on that and I'll fix it when I get home. I said to you before, I'm like very, very independent and self-sufficient. People doing things for me makes me feel awkward. And raising that sort of money and helping me out was hard for me to I suppose, what's the word in accounting, like reconcile. But I got there, and my friends were happy to help me, and a lot of them didn't even tell me that they'd put in money. They just did it, and just out of fucking love, and didn't even want any kudos. A lot of them I paid back. Some of them I didn't. Some of them I still don't know who did. Some people still hold grudges over it. I lost friends after that. But
the cunt was in jail.
It was, mate. I had one guy on the phone to me, fucking crapping on about how hard his fucking life was because of COVID and shit. And it's like, brother, I just spent 3 months in jail. Like, and
no one spoke English in the jail.
Yes.
And I almost had to join a gang.
If you were less stalwartish or less stern of mind, it would be a very, very difficult place to be. One shower every 5 days.
Why?
Correct.
What did you do with wanking?
That's a great question, and one I'm prepared to answer.
Really?
Yeah.
It really interests me because I'm a chronic. I like.
Aren't we all?
But no, like if I wasn't able to access like sex,
yeah,
I'd be wanking everywhere.
Very difficult, right?
Yeah.
So it's even more difficult when you've got 2 other dudes in your cell at all times, and there's just a toilet with a window, but the window can only see your top half. So I had the fortunate experience where both of my cellmates had to go to the prosecutor's office on the same day. So I was home alone, so to speak. The only people around were the guy. If I had one, I would have.
Just humming some Barry White.
So I managed to knock one out in the bathroom, and God, it was fucking satisfying, eh?
That would have been some
But then I was like, I'm not going to see another day where I'm by myself for the foreseeable future, because these guys are done.
Back to back.
So I was like, okay, how long can you last without wanking? 31 days is the answer.
You went 31 days.
31 days. I had a wet dream, brother. I had a wet dream.
As a 31.
No shit. Your body must just get to a point where it cannot take it anymore. It's got to come out. Yeah.
Oh, did you see any gay stuff?
No.
Was there any is there fights or?
No. If you kicked off in there,
you would get in the hole. And
Brother,
I imagine the hole is... Did you go to the hole?
I saw it happen once.
Did
so,
you?
no, not me. Definitely not. I was very, very fucking well-behaved, obviously. I didn't want to get fucking locked up. But there was a guy on the upstairs who were the more naughty ones who got fucking... I could hear him screaming and yelling and shit. This tribe of police, like fucking 20 of them, go storming up there, and there's a guy at the back with a camcorder who films the whole thing. They came down the stairs because the ISO booth or the ISO cell was, on my floor. And they fucking carried him, bro. They had cunts on his legs, cunts on his arms. He's spread-eagled. They carried him in, threw the cunt in, closed the door, and he's banging on it and shit. They just left him there for 2 days.
Is that the wildest shit you've seen there?
I
imagine it would be... Because it's so hard to explain. If you... Like, that cunt must be really loopy.
Yes.
Because to do that in Japan, you have to be, because... Once they get you to a place where there's no cameras and stuff, you don't know. Like, they will cut your fucking feet off. Like, you don't know.
You'll just get bashed, eh? But,
because the guards are just as oppressed as you. They got a lot of built-up anger.
100%.
The Japanese salaryman I was drinking with that night explained it to me perfectly. He said, Japan, to come visit, beautiful. To live here, it's like... He said, have you ever seen a Rolex? And he had a Rolex on. And he's like... You see how every cog is perfect? Japan is a cog. And when someone tries to push on the cog, it's not good for them. Like, the reason Japan is so efficient is because...
Everyone's in lockstep.
Everyone knows if they go slightly against that cog...
Correct.
They're going to get fucked.
Yeah.
And it works. Like, it just works. And... Doing cocaine and fucking being a retard isn't normal. So it's like, it's not like they're being oppressive. Like, they are. It's like they got limited freedom in that sense. But they get to, like, live in maybe the coolest country in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't blame them at all. Like, this is my fucking fault. Like, I have no hard, like, ill will towards fucking the Japanese police constabulary for locking me up. I fucked up. I got locked up. I had to pay the price.
Start the fucking hashtag. Let Josh in Japan. Let him in. Let him in.
I did see some cool shit, like, with the Yakuza. So the first time I went to the prosecutor's office, I was in... just my jeans and a t-shirt. Bear in mind, it's snowing outside, very cold. Because that's all I had.
Because obviously you went for snow, so
correct.
It was peak winter.
When I got arrested, I only had a t-shirt and a pair of jeans on. Pretty much, my jacket got confiscated. So I went to the prosecutor's office, and you have to sit. There's like 13 cells lined up all against the wall, and there's 10 people in each cell, and you sit shoulder to shoulder with 5 other dudes on this side, 5 other dudes on this side, looking at each other for 8 hours. Sometime in that period between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., you'll get called to go see the prosecutor. You don't know when. You don't know for how long. You're handcuffed at all times. So we get lunch. And lunch for me, every day for 71 days, was 2 stale bread rolls, 2 sachets of jam, and a juice box. That's it. 71 days. I lost 13 kilos. I weighed 75 kilos going in.
You're not the largest male in the fucking world either.
I weighed 75 kilos going in.
You're like a fucking meth addict.
With a giant fucking outcast beard. You know, Tom Hanks from fucking Castaway, rather. Just full beard, neck beard. It was gross. I'll show you a photo later. But I was in waiting for my spot with the prosecutor. And across from me was a younger dude, probably like late 20s, glasses, 2 missing fingers on this hand. Right? And covered in tattoos. He lifted up his shirt.
I've never heard of the old double.
Dude, he must have been a naughty boy.
Yeah, I was going to say, so he's fucked up once and he's left once.
Yeah. So he's covered in tattoos. I've got a t-shirt on. Now, I've got 2 Japanese sleeves and a Japanese back. I didn't have my back piece at that point, actually. I just had the sleeves. And he spots my tattoos. And he's like, oi, where from? Tattoo, where from? I was like, Australia. He's like, oh, cool. Have a good day. And I was like, that's fucking scary. And then we get our lunch, and he's got his juice box, right? Finishes the juice box, pulls the straw out, and he folds the straw in half, and he starts trying to undo his handcuffs.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, oh,
he's obviously in there for life.
Yeah. And the cops are fucking realize what he's doing. If you've ever heard two Japanese dudes having an argument, it's the fucking coolest thing ever. Because the way that they roll their R's, and it's just a whole different type.
Japanese as a language is very attractive. Like, it's very endearing. Mm-hmm. It's very... So you got I'm getting I got my whole bodysuit done. So I don't have any room on my body from my collarbones to my toes.
Fucking hell.
I got my armpits, my ass, my dick, everything.
What dick?
A little bit of it. But,
fuck.
Like, everything's done.
Yeah.
But I promised Mum I wouldn't get my arms when I was living at home, and I just never got around to doing it. Next month I'm doing my right arm. But my left arm, I never used to like Jap tattoos. But... Fuck. Have you ever seen Edgel?
Nah.
I'll fucking bring it up. Wait up. This bloke, Edgel. So there's actually this guy I'm getting on the podcast from Adelaide called Stu. And he is one of the best Jap tattooers in Australia I've seen.
Yeah, right.
Where is it? Instagram. Oh, you actually have a fucking dope back piece too.
I love it. Yeah, it's done by a guy called Rory Pickersgill, who's in WA.
All done in Perth, I was going to say.
Yeah, one of the best.
This bloke here, shout out to Stu.
Wow.
Stu is fucking insane. I really want him to do my left arm.
I love the colours, eh?
I fucking love it.
Yours is mainly black and grey, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm getting my arms in colour.
Yeah, sick.
Because I think it'll look dope. But
Sick.
this bloke, Edgel, I want to get a collab from both of them. I don't know if they'll do it. But it's my last tattoo, so they're going to have to sacrifice a little bit for me.
Yeah, wow.
This bloke does Australiana kind of culture with Japanese tattoos. Mm-hmm. But he does where's the one with the fucking TNs? It's so good, bro. Like these.
Oh, wow, yeah,
just
sick.
Dope as fuck. This one.
Yeah,
Boom.
dope.
Just sick.
That's very cool.
But Japanese, when you see someone in Japan that has fucking tattoos, it's a lot more probably accessible, not accessible, it's a lot more not looked down now. But I went in peak summer, so I had to wear shorts everywhere. I was not allowed fucking I really wanted to go to a traditional onsen.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I stayed at the Hilton and they wouldn't even let me in the pool.
Oh, you can't go anywhere.
No.
When Miles and Jamie Irison and stuff all went, I can't remember why. I think they went for a jiu-jitsu tournament for Declan. I think they went to watch Declan in Japan. They all went and they couldn't get in anywhere.
Holy shit.
No,
yeah,
anywhere.
Not surprising.
But I stayed in Airbnbs, but I couldn't get into onsens. I couldn't get it. Certain restaurants in Japan literally have on the door, no Westerners allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you know what? I understand it.
Yeah.
Because they're very proud people and they're very if I don't know you, don't touch me. And Westerners, we're gay.
Very handsy.
We're very gay.
We're handsy.
And if that's how you're brought up and you're trying to fucking eat a meal with your family and then Westerners come in and everyone... And some of the rules make sense. Like when you're on the train, don't play your fucking phone loud. That's
Don't
cool.
even talk on the phone.
Don't talk on the phone on the train. You're being a cock. That makes sense. So I understand it. And do you know what? When you go to someone's country... It's their fucking country.
You play by the rules.
It doesn't piss me off. A lot of people say, in Japan, they don't really speak a lot of English. Yeah, it's not their language.
Yeah, it's a fucking other country.
It's not their language.
Yeah. What do you want?
Yeah, it pisses me off when people come here, you'll go somewhere and they don't speak English. You live in Australia.
Yeah, figure it out.
To figure it out. It's the hardest language in the world.
Yeah, but figure it out.
One word can mean 7 things. But
there, or there?
was that story a big... motive to start the podcast?
So the reason we started the podcast was Scott was actually going through a really rough time. He'd lost his dad to leukemia and he'd gone down a very, very dark path. He'd sort of distanced himself from me and from the majority of his friends. And his missus, Kate, at the time, who I love, she was extremely worried about him, called me up. And I knew that if she called me, we were in fucking DEFCON 0, And she said, look, I'm really worried about him, blah, 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 blah. And he'd said to me on numerous occasions, we should do a podcast or something one day. And I was like, okay, look, I'm sick and tired of telling the Japan story because every time I go out, someone would either recognize me or someone would say, "Oh, Josh was fucking here," and it's a good yarn. So I got sick and tired of telling the story, so I was like, I'll do it in its entirety on the podcast. And if anyone asks me, I'll be like, here's the fucking link. Go listen to it. There's 3 hours. Enjoy. And for me, it was a way of giving Scott something to do creative to try and drag him out of the solitude that he'd kind of forced upon himself. So the podcast was born out of necessity in that I wanted to give Scott something to do, but the catalyst was the story.
And then it started doing well.
Yeah.
You're like for no one who's listened to it, it's really good. Like the podcast, you can tell you and Loston's his last name.
No, Loston is the name that he uses for his music.
What's Scott? Scott. So you and Scott, you can tell that he's your boys.
Yeah.
Like you work very well on camera. I don't know how the fuck you did it with no arguments and shit. Because, bro, I don't know how organising one other person would be so hard.
We've got good chemistry, and I think.
But he seems like he's pretty regimented, so it would have been pretty, like, scheduled.
Yes and no. Scott is, like yourself, heavily ADHD.
Yeah.
Terrible at organising, but awesome at organising at the same time. I think the thing for him was the routine of it. So every Sunday at this time we get together and we do this, and like that helped him kind of drive some consistency out of it. And I think that's the thing that he still misses now, like with us not doing it. But I think just by virtue of having very interesting people on, we were able to have conversations. As I said, we had Azza from Bali, and Bradshaw's missus is a fucking Olympic pole vaulter. So we had Liz Parnov on, and she talked about...
Bradshaw's a bit of a pole vaulter himself.
Yeah.
Fucking go.
We had that loser on a few times as well. And then, like you said, we had the Craig Jones episode, which really popped, and
I'm fucking still mad about that. Craig, if you fucking go on Club Good and you won't come to a fucking podcast in Adelaide, I swear to God, you fucking coward.
Yes.
I will bring that Andrew Wiltsey fucking wrath upon you. I swear on my mother's life, if you don't come on this fucking podcast by 2026, I'll kneecap you next time you're in Adelaide, you cunt. We've had 2 nights out together now, and last time we went out, it was terrible. It was so fucked. It was bad.
Where was that?
When he came to fucking Adelaide a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Went to the footy when Port got fucking dismantled by... I can't remember who we were playing, but we got fucking wrecked. It was grand final series. And Adam was like, Craig's in town, and I was like, fucking hell, I've got to go now. Craig. But we ended up fucking... It's like being with one of the boys, but the boy has indisposable income. It's just a bad recipe.
It's a challenge.
It's fucking hard.
It's a challenge.
It's so hard.
I've got a video of him choking me out in the hotel room at Crown. You were there, weren't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
He
with Frank Hickman. Of all people.
Showed me some video, because this was... He went straight from Colombia to Adelaide after CJI. He was showing me some videos that I actually couldn't believe were real. Like,
I've heard about them.
So me and Adam, I won't go into detail, but me and Adam did a podcast directly after CJI. And Adam was like, should we call Craig before the podcast to see what he's up to? And I was like, he's not going to answer. And because it's like Craig's famous, but I forget that Adam is actually his brother. So he answers this FaceTime. Craig looks like... Have you ever seen Blow?
Yes.
He looks like Johnny Depp right before his kid was being born.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Just that scene.
Yeah.
And it's so frantic.
Yeah.
And there's just women everywhere. There's, like, to the point where it looks like it was Epstein's Island. They were all of age. But like, there was just women everywhere. And then there's Luke Rockhold for some reason.
Being hell handsome.
Being so handsome. And fucking, yeah. It's how they live.
It's a fucking cracker. We jammed that somehow. I think because he was over here shooting content for Daniel at Street X, I basically just bullied Daniel. I was like, we're going to bring a podcast studio to the warehouse. As soon as he finishes, let's just sit down. And he humoured us. We had a great conversation. It went for like, an hour and a half or something. And we were fortunate in that it was kind of before all the shit kicked off with Gordon.
He's too big now. It's too hard.
It would never happen again.
It's too hard.
We jagged it, man.
He's so big.
We jagged it.
No one in the world will ever monetize jiu-jitsu as much as Craig Jones has monetized
there's
jiu-jitsu.
no way.
No one ever will.
No.
Ever. It's not that monetizable. It's not that fun.
It's kind of boring.
It's kind of gay.
It's very gay.
But do you know what I mean? But what he did with CJI and stuff, brilliant. And he actually brought jiu-jitsu, he put a light on jiu-jitsu for common people that people who don't watch jiu-jitsu want to watch.
Yeah, well, he created a format that's very watchable. It's very exciting.
Just the pit alone.
Mate, change the game.
Did you ever have on Adam Jacques?
No.
Jacques?
No, I know of him. Matt Shark.
He's the king of Perth.
Oh, is that self-proclaimed?
Pretty sure he has herpes.
Fucking hell.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know. But like, fucking, just the jiu-jitsu and the combat community. I'm surprised you didn't have more of like a an MMA focus.
Honestly, Scott has not very little interest because Scott does love UFC, but he fell out of his depth.
Yeah.
With that, which is fine because I kind of carried the can when it came to the MMA fighters. Like we had Rod Costa, we had Jack Becker, we had Toby the Weaponsmith. I think we had another couple of fighters maybe, but it was more. We were trying to keep it varied. We had firefighters, we had Olympians, we had fucking...
You did a really good job of not having a niche, which
Yeah.
I think it's like there is something to having a niche, and there's like it's two totally different things. Like if you have a niche, it's different, like pros and cons to everything. I really, really fucking try to not have a niche because I don't want to talk to the same. I surprisingly fucking hate talking to people. Like in my everyday life, I hate when random people talk. I'm not a loud person. I'm very quiet. I'm a man of very few words. Like, in person, as if I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you because I want to get something out of you. Especially if you got a lot of viewers.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's why I've had Crafter on 3 times. We were talking about Crafter before.
Oh, bro.
We were talking about Crafter, and I was like, do you know what the best thing about Crafter is? You can have him on the pod, and you can say 4 words, and then just let him go. Let him go after it.
I think we had him on. He was our most capped episode. I think we had him on 4 times. And the first one that he came on gave us one of our first real pops.
He's phenomenal, man.
He is so popular, and I didn't realise just how popular he is.
It's not even his popularity. It's the fact that he gives small platforms like a fucking go, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I messaged him. So my ex-girlfriend...
Sorry, before you go, is it possible to have a piss? I'm getting fucking fully sidetracked here.
Wait.
Awesome.
I'll take wait up. Where the fuck am I? Yeah, you can go.
Sweet.
So, we've acquired cigarettes.
Thanks, Saf.
Thank you. So, I was always a metal guy, but not like a heavy like metalcore. There's very subgenres to it. I still don't get into it. It's a bit gay.
Yeah.
But I had on a guy called Peter Bordy. Mm-hmm. Because this dude I trained with one day before I had the Wayne Cleveland podcast, I was talking about it in the gym to Miles, and then Miles goes, "Oh, that bloke over there used to be a bra boy." And I was like, and he's like, "Who you having on?" He's like, "Wayne Cleveland." He's like, "You having on Wayne?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like fresh out of jail and shit, and I was like, "Oh wow." And so this Pete guy, I was like, he's a nice dude. Like, he's very, like, you would never pick his past, ever. And had Wayne on. Then I had Pete. No, then my ex at the time, I was getting into heavy metal, and I never heard of Parkway Drive, ever.
Okay.
I'd heard of them, but I'd never listened to them.
Yeah.
And I was getting into it and I was listening. She's like, have you ever seen the doco? We're on YouTube watching the doco and I'm on my phone listening to it. And I heard a voice that I really recognise. And I look up and Pete is right there talking about his best friends, Winston, and all these boys on Parkway.
Yeah.
And I'm like literally, it was a weird moment. I was like looking at the screen. I've never seen, you know, when you meet someone famous, when you realise crafters, oh, you're actually famous.
Yeah, yeah.
It's weird.
Actually.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And so I've got Pete on, and we're talking about his past and blah, blah, blah. And then we got on to Crafter, and then I've looked up Crafter, and then I've messaged him, and he replied straight away because he's a fucking sick cunt.
Yeah.
I had no subscribers at that time. And he's like, yeah, bro,
Yeah.
I'm fucking king of all dingo. I'm going to come down and do your podcast. Fucking boom, done it. Posted him on my story, didn't realise who... I knew who he was, but I didn't realise.
The following.
Because it's a very different circle. That metal, that hardcore circle, if you're a fan of him, you're a fan of him forever.
100.
There's no... and I got fucking hundreds of people messaging me hey,
How?
you got Crafter on. Like one of my best mates, James, he was going to have a fucking heart attack. He was like, I can't believe it. and he's just a fucking, but he is. He's a good dude. He can fucking chat. But that's the best thing. You know, there's nothing worse than having someone on the podcast and they don't want to chat.
No shit. Well, between Crafter and Joan, or Craig, that's how we got Jonah.
I really want Jonah on.
Jonah is a fucking legend. I could not say more nice things about him. He's such a lovely guy.
One of your biggest clips too, eh?
Yeah, still to this day.
200 odd thousand or something? I don't keep track of anything.
He came on, we did it remotely, which I don't like doing, but I was like, fuck it, it's Jonah, and it worked well in terms of the technology. But he was in Vegas or something for some event he was doing, and he took the time out in his hotel room to sit there and have a conversation with us, and he was super lovely. And man, the pop we got after Jonah was crazy.
The thing is that this podcast could be a lot bigger because I could reach out to people, and a lot of people ask, oh, do you do them virtually?
Yeah.
I won't. I don't want to.
It's better face to face.
I did one virtually with this massive content creator that I fucking love. Shout out to Senpai Kai. He's a mad dog. He's a chef. And it's not the same. It's it's weird. It's an interview at that point.
Yeah.
That's an interview.
Which I don't like doing.
No, it's gay.
It's a conversation, and that's what we always said. I don't want to sit here and ask you for your life story. I want to have a conversation, and the story will come out as almost like a byproduct of that conversation.
Yeah, and I love Adelaide. The hardest thing about having a podcast in Adelaide is some other states just don't come here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people just don't come here.
Yeah, it's like the little forgotten state.
But you realise how many cool people are in Adelaide even in Perth, you would have been like, I would have never known you were from Perth.
Yeah, no shit.
If I didn't start Club Good. Do you know what I mean? Like your story, even if it gets 500 listens, those 500 people would have never have known about you.
Correct.
Before.
Yeah. We had a guy on, Ian Strange, who doesn't go by this name anymore, but back in the day he was Kid Zoom, one of the most fucking prolific graffiti writers ever. He did some cool stuff. Kanye West bought a piece of his, and he just blew up after that. He came on. We've had so many interesting people.
Graffiti. So this podcast has really turned me on to graffiti.
I used to be a graphic kid back in the day.
You're bullshitting.
Yes, sir.
What was your tag?
Foes.
How do you spell that?
Foes.
I just did a podcast with
Foe. Yeah, I watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a spin out.
I know.
I did one of my favorite, my first favorite, one of the best podcasts I've done is with this bloke called Hyphens or Ozark. And then I just got obsessed because I watched Jizzo. And I was like, this cunt's a freak. I just got obsessed with cunts that were addicted to painting trains.
Yeah.
And then I got on this bloke called Two Loco from New South Wales. Bro, he was got shot at in Milan. He's travelled the whole world.
Riding.
Just riding. And he went to Japan. Trying to graph trains in Japan.
Wow.
Got pinged.
Oh, no.
Fled to South Korea.
Wow.
Had to flee. Had to catch a boat.
That's crazy. Very cool story.
But graffiti, there's something about graffiti. Like, graffiti's fucking... Such a weird world. It's such an odd world.
It's come right up into the zeitgeist, though. Like, I was riding when I was, like, in fucking high school, you know? So it was not... even the artistic side of it was not appreciated then. So we were very much, like, pieces of shit, you know?
Yeah, it's different now because of social media and shit. Oh, that's fucking dope. You can put a little... You can relive your memories on the wall.
Little throw up, mate. I'll fucking chuck one up there. But yeah, I loved the conversation. Like, Craft was great. Jonah was great. Yeah, fucking such a fun time.
I hope Scott continues the pod. I hope one day, because even his last guest, like Shock One, that's such a fucking dope guest. Like,
Yeah.
do you know how many illicit substances I've consumed to some Shock One?
We've had him on multiple times too. Carl makes, like, dude, I'll give Scott some props here. So Scott started this Loston thing off the back of the fact that he was, like, remixing popular tunes. And I said to him, dude, have you heard of this guy Sampler? Have you ever seen Sampler? He's like a British guy, but, like, sings like a fucking angel. And he was on a Drake track, and he did this song called Too Much. And I said, Scott, you should remix this. This would be dope. He ended up doing it, and it's a fucking dope track. Put it up on the SoundCloud for free, and it got millions of fucking listens.
Really?
And then someone picked it up. I can't remember the name of the gig that did it. You'd know him. Very big EDM band. Played his track as their opening tune at fucking Ultra Festival.
Wow.
And there's this video of just Scott's Too Much track just going fucking bananas. Amazing.
I did Tomorrowland solo.
Wow. You are the king of fucking just doing shit.
I did Tomorrowland solo.
That's impressive.
I'm not ready to get that story out because my mum listens to the podcast.
One day.
I can tell, mate, that fucking 3 days put a number on me.
I can only imagine.
I've never experienced any. I went the year Avicii died.
Wow.
Avicii was headlining, and they played a like, I can't remember who did it. Someone, I don't know if it was Hardwell, but someone played his set, and they played what do you call it? More like they acknowledged him at the start and the end. And there was maybe 200,000 lighters.
Wow.
Just fucking boof. And it was wild, pitch black.
Amazing to see, eh?
Not one fight. It's so interesting going to Europe.
Yeah, it's a different vibe, eh?
Because if you get, like, we used to have Stereosonic in Adelaide. And you go to Stereos and there'd be 60,000 people. And there was fucking scraps and, like, just people ODing and fucking... It's so different overseas. Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah, in Europe especially.
People in Australia are so aggressive.
Yeah, we are. We are.
We are.
Especially on the piss or on the drugs.
100%.
It gets weird.
Yeah, it gets weird. Do you reckon you ever make a comeback to... Is your podcasting days done?
I don't know, man. With the ACC thing that I'm doing now with the cars...
I was going to bring it to that because I actually think that content is way better suited for you.
It is. It's something that I'm passionate about, so it's quite easy for me to kind of just get in there and do it. But it's all about the, like, pivot. Like, I told you before we started, I did a car review for a Lamborghini Huracan the other day. That's about to come out. It's only 8 minutes, but I'm hoping that's going to be... I'll make them put it on YouTube.
So do you know their YouTube account?
It's like AARNI, I think, or ACC, one of the two.
ACC or AYANI?
Yes, yeah, one of those two on YouTube. There's a couple of videos. We're not really pushing the YouTube at the moment, but the thing's going to spin off. We're going to give away a car. We're doing a big event on Australia Day, January 26th. Giving away a fucking C63. No one knows that yet, so fucking...
When I buy a new... I really don't want to buy a new car because I fucking love my car. But I really want to put it in a rally
yeah.
for content.
Yeah, fucking
Or
oath.
I want to give it away.
Yes, to one of your subscribers.
To one of my subs.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
That car, I've had some nice cars. I used to have a VY V8 Calais when I was like fucking 17.
Sick.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Of course, say it. I used to have a Mercedes, but like I've never I'm not a rev head. Like I'm a rev head as in I love fucking going, but I'm not mechanically minded. I don't care about cars. Like I don't care about cars enough to have $100,000 car.
Yeah.
I just don't care about it. But
I've been lucky. I've had a few cool ones.
you've
Like I
had
had
some fucking nice cars.
I had the Audi RS6, which was like my dream car. But it all started for me with Japanese cars. My very first car ever that I bought was a 1989 Series 5 RX-7 that I imported from Japan myself with a full roll cage and shit.
Apparently, one of the funnest cars to drive is an RX-7.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I'd have one today, except they're too fucking expensive. So I ended up buying a version 5 STI, two-door STI, which is one of the rarest STIs ever made in Australia.
What colour?
It was blue. Rally blue,
Gold rims?
of course. No, I had black rims on it. I put Pro Drive wheels on it. Had a big GDX 3071R, big turbo E85.
You just bought a car?
I did just buy a car. Yeah,
What colour?
I had the G82 M4 for a while, 2021 M4, which I loved. But the thing is with Euros, it just doesn't have the fucking the vibe for me. They're so sterile.
Do you know what's funny? In that M4, one of your seats would be well worth more than my car.
Yeah, like easily. Yeah, they're carbon
But do you
back
know
ones.
how
Crazy.
fun that cunt is to
I know,
drive?
and that's the thing. The funnest cars are the cheaper ones. So
No,
I just
it's because you can feel everything.
Yes.
Like you can, like when I drive that car, I can feel, like I can rip it around a corner. I can just feel it.
And you know it.
you know
it.
It's, there's nothing in it. It's
Yeah.
just a motor with 4 wheels.
I bought a
So
car
fun.
today. I bought a car at Japanese auction that I've wanted for ages. 2006 STI Spec C,
What colour?
white. It's the Spec C was 90 kilos lighter than a factory one. Light windows, no carpet.
Working order.
Yeah. It drives. It drives. It's fine. It needs some TLC. Like outside needs some love. But
Can't go to Japan, but you can buy it from there.
exactly, and I will. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know how long it's going to take to get here or what the process is yet. I literally bought it today. But I'm excited. It's going to be another project and something I can sort of dig my teeth into. But my day job is just fucking playing with supercars and driving fucking very high performance Euros and shit like that. So if I ever want that experience, I can do that.
I've had a really good video in mind with this pro videographer I've worked with. Did you ever see my Melbourne video when I went to Hex?
No, I don't think so.
I took over a videographer with me who's a good friend. Shout out to Shannon, Right Media. He did it all for free for me, and he brought over a red cam worth like 80 grand.
Yeah, mental.
And so Hex was like, you can have full access to our event, just get loose and make a good video. And I was like, done. So it was a fucking sick video, but I really want to film a video of me going around a racetrack with a professional driving and try and finish a beer while it's happening.
Amazing.
But I'm a very simple man. My dream car, if I had like an exorbitant amount of money and I wanted a dream car, one of them would be an Aston Martin DB9.
Okay, beautiful.
What's yours?
Oh, that's a fucking long question. Actually, no, it's not. You know what? If I had unlimited money,
exorbitant amount of money,
Yep.
you don't be gay and do like a Pagani or fucking.
no, it wouldn't be that. It'd be a Porsche GT2 RS 991.
So funny you say that. One of my uncles, his brother, is very, very, very financially well. He owns a lot of chemists.
Yep.
And he has Ferraris. He has fucking a McLaren. His favorite car is Porsche 911s.
Yep.
He has every fucking 911 fucking from the 90s to now. And he said it's just the best car to drive.
So
It's
I'll get deeper in the weeds, but like the 911, there's multiple variants, right? So the top echelon of the 911 are the GT3 RS and the GT2 RS. GT3 RS is the 4-litre that is out of the GT3, but it has all the aero, it has the wings, it has the fixed back seats, it's very fucking racy. The thing is, they only make about 400 horsepower at the wheels, but you need to drive them at 10/10ths to be able to get any excitement out of it. They're a race car, you know? The GT2 RS, the one that I had, or was driving, had 800 wheel horsepower, twin turbo, rear wheel drive, and the thing scared you every time you drove it. It made all the whooshing and the fucking pop-off noise.
And they fucking kick out a bit.
Mate,
the thing
it was crazy to drive.
You know more than me because you've probably driven. You've driven more high-end cars than probably anyone I know. When you're driving a lot of these cars, they do 95% of the work for you.
Yes.
Like they correct your driving heaps. A Porsche is is just an upscaled version of my car. It's got 4 wheels.
Yes.
And a fucking mid-engine, or are they mid or
rear engine? Yeah.
Rear engine motor. So you can feel everything.
The thing that I love about the
And
GT...
they don't have paddle shift. I fucking hate that.
It does.
Do they?
Yes.
The GT3 or the GT2?
All GT3s except for the Touring and the ST came with a manual. You can buy them in a manual. But the GT2 RS, GT3 RS are all paddle shift, like dual clutch. But, it's different in Porsche world. But that GT2 RS tried to assassinate you every time you drove it, which is exciting. Like, you had to be careful when you drove
a Mustang.
It just wanted to assassinate you, which I love. The M4s, and I just did that review as the Huracan, as I told you, and I've never driven a Huracan until that day, but I just sat in it and it works. Like, nothing scary about it, nothing intimidating about it. You can just drive the car. I want a car. If I was to spend that sort of money, I want a fucking car that wants to assassinate me. The GT2 RS, to this day, in the Manti Racing kit on it, with the extended aero, etc., is still like the 3rd fastest car around the Nürburgring, and it was made in 2018.
What is the fastest car around the Nürburgring?
Now it's the AMG 1, which is essentially a fucking Formula 1 car.
I will lie. Besides the DB9, I would love a moderately priced AMG. Like, a nice AMG is so nice.
So that's our sweet spot at Racing Dynamics over in WA. We are the Mercedes gurus. So we build hardcore Mercedes.
I had a 99 C-Class fucking...
Oh, like the W204, like the old school C63, great car, but we do a lot of the W205, which is the new 4-litre twin turbo, and we put our own high-flow RD700 turbos on it. They make 700 wheel horsepower. We use water meth. Those things try and assassinate you at all times as well, but they're kind of pointless.
Why do Mercedes, they just don't have resale value?
They're not too bad.
I don't know about, because every state's very different.
Compared to an Audi, the Mercedes holds value very well. Like my BMW, the sticker price on it.
When you compare it to like a fucking Land Cruiser that will have 300,000 Ks on it
and
still
be
62,000, it's fucking wild.
Mate, the sticker price on my M4 new was $240,000. I bought it. It was 2021. I bought it in 2024, and I paid $150. So it dumped $100K in 3 years. Massive depreciation.
I almost bought a Patrol because I love my favorite car of all time is a turbo diesel 4.2 litre Nissan Patrol.
That was my granddad's favourite car.
It's my favourite car.
Yeah. He had one till he died.
I just look at it and I'm like, that's a fucking man's car.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go home, hit my wife.
Yes.
And just be a man.
Smell a diesel.
Yeah.
Love it.
Like, it's just such a beautiful car. And I almost bought one not too long ago for fucking $48,000.
Wow.
But it was a brand new engine. It only had 80,000 on the clock on the 4.2. Like, you're only paying for the engine.
100%.
With any of these cars.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious when people will have a Land Cruiser with 400,000 Ks on it and they will try and sell it for 60 grand because it's not COVID anymore.
No.
Like, people aren't going to buy that.
No.
But someone will. I rate like an Indian will. There will be an Indian.
Yes.
And they will buy it.
Someone will buy that.
Someone will buy it. It will be a Chinese man or an Indian.
But yeah, the car thing now is kind of the love. So I'm gonna keep fleshing that out and just keep doing jiu-jitsu. And I think we may as well wrap up because we're getting fucking late in the piece. But I do need to touch on the fact that I went and trained at M16 today. We were going to talk about it early in the pod. We may as well talk about it now.
What's it like?
Bro, I got fucking bashed.
You did?
I got bashed hard. Bear in mind, I'm a 39-year-old man. I got my blue belt in March. Like, I've been grappling for 3 years. The guys in that room are not only lovely, but they're fucking assassins. Like, Jamie Ison fucked me up.
Don't say that.
Oh, I know.
He's going to fucking clip that.
I know. And he can. He deserves it. I headbutted the fuck out of him today, though. So,
Good.
yeah, at least I got some back.
Can't make his fight on Sunday now.
And then I had the pleasure of rolling with fucking Adam Jones. I love Adam.
Craig's
but
brother. We call him Craig's brother in Adelaide.
I fucking hate Craig's brother, eh? He put a clinic on me today. He wrist locked me with one arm. I still don't know how he did it. My hand was up here, like by my fucking head, and somehow still the cunt managed to fucking wrist lock me. He buggy choked me from my back. which is so disrespectful. He didn't even have the decency to let me get into side control before he buggied me.
1 hour and 48 minutes. I'm going to send that to Adam immediately because I know he's going to want to clip that.
He buggied me from my back. I told the boys, the cunt buggied me from another postcode. I don't know how. The cunt's so fucking long. I don't understand it.
It's just because you run out of room and he doesn't. That's what it is.
Exactly. There is not a moment where I ever felt like I had Adam in any position that he didn't want to be in, and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I'm a blue belt. I shouldn't roll with like black belts and feel any different. But it's very interesting because I roll with Rod quite frequently, and Rod is 75 kilos, but he has a top game, so he'll get top point position and just grind the living fuck out of you until you give up. That's his whole angle. Adam will play guard and just hit dumb submissions from literally anywhere, and it pisses me off.
Oh, wait till he starts getting dirty and fucking rubbing his elbow on your forehead.
He did something that he called the father's milk today, which I hadn't heard of. He just fucked me up. But he was pissing me off, so I grabbed a hold of his nose and I covered his mouth, and and that was the only time where I made him actually stop and have to address something today. And then I paid for that dearly, but it was fucking worth it, Sav.
Well, it's been a pleasure. This is honestly really cool because I still do really look up to what you and Scott were doing as a podcast, and it's fucking so full circle for you to officially come on mine and have a drink in my shed and fucking see how I'm doing now. And it actually gives me goosebumps just talking about it because I used to I still do really look up to what you guys did, and yous made me step up heaps. And I fucking will always appreciate that. Even though I would message you with problems all the time and you would fucking help me out, and I just really appreciate you coming on, man.
Brother, appreciate it. And again, I'll just reiterate my comments and man, you are doing a great thing. I hope you keep it going. I know it's fucking a hard grind sometimes, but keep it fucking going. You're putting Adelaide out there. I'll keep listening. You keep doing them. Good on yourself.
I am going to do this, boys, until the fucking wheels fall off.
Attaboy.
We'll see you at the bottom.
Peace.
Peace.